We're recording the day that CPI came out. It came out a little bit hotter and the market doesn't care and it's going up. And why? Because as far as the stock market is concerned, Jay Powell said last week he's going to cut rates. Okay, we don't even need to bother with the data. He's going to cut rates because he said so. And that's really the mentality that we have in the market. Well, I might add, he's been saying it for a year. He's the same guy that said, and he hasn't cut rates. He's also the same guy that said inflation was transitory. He was also the same guy that hinted about 2 times that he would stop hiking rates, and he kept hiking rates. So he says a lot of things he doesn't follow through on. And this is not necessarily a knock on him because, the old Yogi Berra line, predictions are hard, especially if they involve the future. You could say, I'm going to cut rates because I have a certain set of assumptions that certain things are going to happen. The inflation rate is going to go to 2%. The economy is going to look like it's going to be in a soft landing. And if that all happens, he will cut rates. But if that doesn't happen, he won't cut rates. So first of all, the market seems to be ignoring the data because he said he's going to cut rates. Second of all, there's a bigger argument out there. Does it matter? I think it does. And I think it does for the following reason. I think what's happened with investing is the long run return of the stock market. If I buy stocks, the S&P 500, what should I reasonably expect it to do? We're 8% a year. That's its historical average. And based on a bunch of metrics, that's what you should expect. Not 8% every year, but average 8% a year. So if it's 2019 and I have a money market fund and it's yielding 0, people will scream, Tina, there is no alternative. What are you doing in that money market fund? You got to put your money in stocks. You got to put your money in more risk. You got to make more money. Get in stocks, get in stocks. Okay, makes perfect sense. But if it is 2024 and we continue with a 5.3% money market fund rate, and that's what it is, people looking around going, it's 70% of the stock market's gains, 5.3 versus 8. And I get a $1 NAV every day, no risk. I don't have to worry about it. That's why $1.5 trillion has flowed into money market funds in the last 18 months. So, people are trying to scream, Tina, oh, you got to get your money on a money market fund. And they're saying, no, I'll keep the majority of it here. But if I need to invest anything, I'll put 5%, maybe I'll put 5% in an AI technology related play and 1 or 2% in the Bitcoin ETF or some other hot sauce type of thing. No more than 5, 6, 7% of my money. And the rest of it I will keep here. And that's why you're seeing such giant concentration in the stock market's gains. If you look at the NASDAQ 100, which is the Triple Q's index, it's up 8%, almost 9% for the year. Half those gains of that index is NVIDIA, one company. And if you add in Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon, not only are they more than the gains of the index, that means the other 96 stocks collectively are at a loss for the year. A third of the gains in the S&P is NVIDIA. That's why you get these concentrated gains. The money that comes into the market goes into the speculative areas. The bulk of the money is just staying right where it is. It's either in a bond fund, you're getting some yield, or it's in a money market fund getting 5.3. And if the Fed doesn't cut, that 5.3 is going to stick around. There's almost $7 trillion in money market funds. Now, if the Fed cuts, then the Tina crowd can start screaming, you can't stay in a money market fund. You're falling behind. You got to put your money in the stocks. And they might then start to move forward in that direction. But for right now, I think that when that reality comes, Fed's not going to cut rates, and that Tina arguments are going to work, the stock market is going to realize it's got a competition problem. It already does. That's why I think the other 96 stocks in the NASDAQ are not up on the year. If you look at the other 496 stocks in the S&P, in other words, not NVIDIA, Amazon, Meta, or Microsoft, they're only up 2% on the year. Now they're up, and it's 2%. It's better than 0, but it's not the 6 or 7% gains that the entire index has. That's because of everything else that has been powering the index higher as well. So yeah, I think rates are going to matter. I just think that the market is looking at the CPI number going, the stock market going, it's all noise. He told me he's going to cut. But later on this year, if the reality comes in, there ain't going to be a cut. And you could scream and yell all you want, get in the stocks, and you're telling people to buy fully valued stocks when they can get 70% of the stock market's expected gains in a money market fund, that competition, I think, is going to be problematic for the stock market later this year.